All right,
Okay.
guys, good morning. I hope you're ready. Show of hands, who's ready to go through 60 slides of nice, dry, boring articles? I'm just kidding. I don't have 60 slides. I have 20. All right. Now, this is a participative review. Hello? Pushing down.
Let's try. Okay,
Okay, so this review is gonna require participation for all you guys. You can either volunteer, jump up and start reading, or I'm gonna go, or Ashley's gonna go pick somebody, okay? We'll get through this as quick as possible. It's boring, it's dry, but I got some stories at the end you'll like. All right, first off, this does not qualify as your required training that is required by CAR and NAR. I'm not doing this class. I prepared for this class. I found out I'm not authorized to do the training. So this is a review.
oops,
CAR requires 2.5 hours of ethics training every 3 years, and NAR is 3.5 hours. And if you want to go find out if you are required to take it, you can go to this link I have on the screen right here, put your name and license number in there, and it will tell you when your ethics is due. If you do not complete your ethics training in the given time, they will suspend your license until you complete it. Again, this is a review only and not training. What are ethics? Somebody tell me what ethics are.
standard of conduct. Standard of conduct,
Is any of them
okay.
talking?
I'm gonna pick on someone, Michael. How would you define it? You knew it. You knew I was gonna pick.
Ethics is basically like code of conduct, the code of I can't even speak. But basically how to treat people, like, ethics, like morals, like don't screw someone over.
Moral principles, right on track, govern a person's behavior or the conducting of an activity. What's integrity? Melissa?
Being truthful and honest.
The quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, moral uprightness. What are moral principles? Somebody, Keith.
Moral principles, having a set of rules that are governed by your actions.
Guidelines that people live by to make sure they're doing the right thing. These include things like honesty, fairness, and equality. In the military, they taught us integrity is actually doing the right thing even when no one else is looking. Okay.
Oh, come on, why aren't you working?
There
There we go.
All right, there are 3 primary areas as a realtor is required for ethics. You got duties and duty to clients and customers. You got duties to the public, and you got duties to realtors. These are the 3 main groups, main areas of the code of ethics for our particular profession.
Come on. There we go.
All right, somebody read Article 1 for me. Can't even see the screen.
Birthday girl.
Where's Cherie? Hey, birthday girl.
Sorry, I had to pick
I just
on
put a
you.
piece of scone in my mouth. Okay, do you want to let me finish chewing?
Somebody else. Somebody else read it for her.
I'll do it. Article 1, when representing a buyer, seller, landlord, tenant, or other client as an agent, realtors pledge themselves to protect and promote the interests of their clients. This obligation to the client is primary, but it does not relieve realtors of their obligation to treat all parties honestly. When serving a buyer, seller, landlord, tenant, or other party in a non-agency capacity, realtors remain obligated to treat all parties honestly.
Very good. All right, we're just gonna go through these articles and we're gonna talk about some. I have my I have Wendy Matthews here. Wendy actually sits on the grievance committee, SDAR. So I found out last night, so I asked her to help me go through this thing. So at any point, Wendy, please feel free to jump in if you have examples of this or whatever.
Okay.
Okay, all right, so it's Article 2. Let me read it.
Travis, you're up. Oh, you're muted.
He's like, shoot.
Start over.
I can read lips.
Rewind.
Realtors should or shall avoid extravagation and misrepresentation or concealment of, I'm not the best reader. Persistent acts relating of the property or the transaction. Realtors shall not, however, be obligated to discover latent defects in the property, to advise on matters outside of the scope of their real estate license, or disclose facts which are I can't say that,
Confidential.
confidential under the scope of agency or non-agency relationship as defined by the state of law.
So this goes back to when you have a home inspection done and your client starts to ask the questions about things that we don't know. We're not professionals. We're real estate agents. We're not home inspectors. We're not microbial growth specialists, nothing like that. So don't try to answer questions outside of your abilities. And we'll get to that in a minute, why you should not do that. All right, next. Christian, good morning.
Hey, good morning. All right, realtors shall cooperate with brokers except when cooperation is not in the client's best interest. The obligation to cooperate does not include the obligation to share commissions, fees, or to otherwise compensate another broker.
All right. What else? Sheree, you ready?
Yeah, sorry. Swallow really quick. Okay, realtors shall not acquire an interest in or buy or present offers from themselves, any member of their immediate families, their firms, or any member thereof, or any entities in which they have any ownership interest, any real property without making their true position known to the owner or the owner's agent or broker. In selling property they own or in which they have any interest, realtors shall reveal their ownership or interest in writing to the purchaser or the purchaser's representative.
So if your seller is a licensed real estate agent, you have to put anything in the MLS stating that you are the seller and you are a licensed real estate agent. Somebody, anybody.
Yes.
Yes, you have to disclose that. If you've got a vested interest in the property, like your beneficiary, after the sale, you're gonna get money. You need to disclose that as well. You cannot hide that fact.
A lot of times in the MLS, you'll see wording in the very top in the description. Agent is related to the seller, or agent is a personal acquaintance, or agent has an owner interest in this property. So it needs to be right up front.
So Amy Steiner, when you get ready to list that house, you're getting ready to list. This is important for you because you need to put that in there.
Do you want me
Alright,
to owner interest, or what would I identify that as?
So as Wendy was just saying, you've got to put in the comments and in the confidential comments that you are related to this.
And
Okay.
that's not a negative. It doesn't mean that nobody's going to make offers. It just brings the issue out up front so that there's no, question about your relationship. It doesn't mean that you're going to do a bad job or misrepresent anybody. It just is what it is.
It's just a disclosure type item, what it is. All right, who's next? Give me somebody.
Wait, I have one point or question on that, Steve. Isn't it also true? In fact, I know it is, but if you're related to your buyer and your buyer's writing an offer, that should be disclosed as well, right? You put it in the other terms on the contract that you're related to the buyer, or if you're buying it for yourself. I'm a real estate agent, I'm writing an offer on this house, it should be disclosed.
Correct. I just wrote an offer for my sister-in-law. And I called the agent to let him know verbally that I was her brother-in-law and I'm a licensed real estate agent. And I also put it in our offer in the contract to disclose that I am a licensed real estate agent and related to the buyer. So I did fulfill that. You are correct, Sheree. Thank you. All right, who's next? Give me somebody.
Melissa, I always pick the people who are eating, sorry.
Realtors shall not undertake to provide professional services concerning a property or its value where they have a present or contemplated interest unless such interest is specifically disclosed to all affected parties.
There you go. Article 5. All right, next. Realtors shall not accept any commission, rebate, or profit, I can't see the last word, expenditures made for their client without the client's knowledge and consent. So if you're made willing to deal with the other agent, the buyer, your client should be made aware of that. Oops, did I hit the wrong one? Oh, you did. Okay, next, go ahead.
Sherry, you want to take this one?
Sure. Article 7, in a transaction, realtor shall not accept compensation from more than one party, even if permitted by law, without disclosure to all parties and the informed consent of the realtor's client or clients.
I like that voice. That was good.
You should be on the radio.
You be on
I have a little
radio.
kid, we read every night.
All right, next.
Who else do we have on here? Let's flip through.
Flip through,
Let's
grab the
see. Mo, you want to take this one?
buddy.
Oh. Here, can you, oh, maybe you're driving.
Yeah, he's
Let's
driving.
see.
I
All
can
right,
go.
never-
All right, go.
I
You're
can
driving
go.
the road.
I'm not driving.
Jen, there you
Jen,
are.
there you
She's
are.
not driving. Oops.
Oh. There you go.
Realtors shall keep in a special account in an appropriate financial institution separate from their own funds, monies coming into their possession in trust for other persons, such as escrows, trust funds, clients' monies, and other like items.
All right, question, and just shout out the answer if you know it. Are you guys allowed to take a EMD check from your clients and take it over to escrow?
No.
Heck, no.
No.
No, we won't go.
Don't touch the money. You
Never.
want nothing to do with it,
Never.
okay?
That's also like Real as our broker does not allow us to do that.
Mhm.
So, and that's in the team agreement, I believe, too.
Yes,
So
it is.
never, just, if it's their money, don't touch it.
Don't touch it. All right. Last article for duties to clients and customers. Hey, guys, we're almost halfway through. How's that, huh? Not
Nice.
bad. All right, next, give me somebody to read it.
Amy, do you want to take, oh, Amy, it's you.
That was weird, guys. Okay.
Yeah.
Realtors, for the protection of all parties, shall ensure whenever possible that all agreements related to real estate transactions, including but not limited to listing and representation agreements, purchase contracts, and leases are in writing in clear and understandable language, expressing the specific terms, conditions, obligations, and commitments of the parties. A copy of each agreement shall be furnished to each party to such agreements upon their signing or initialing.
So are you required to give a full purchase agreement package to your clients after they sign it?
Yes.
Anybody? Wendy?
Yes, that would be a yes.
Yes, you are required. Make sure that they have a full set of the paperwork that they sign. All right, duties to the public. There's only 4 or 5 articles that apply to this. All right, give me somebody real quick.
Let's see, let's flip through here.
Who's reading?
Keith, you want to take this one?
Sure. Article 10, realtors shall not deny equal professional services to any person for reasons of race, color, religion, sex, disability, family status, national origin, sexual orientation, or gender identity. Realtors shall not be parties to any plan or agreement to discriminate against a person or persons on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, disability, familial status, national origin, sexual orientation, or gender identity.
Cherie, how do you ask your clients if schools are a concern for them? I guess I just said it. You're not allowed to ask a family member if they have children. However, to get around that, you can simply say, are schools a concern and a need for your situation? And then they'll say, yes, I've got X number of kids, or I don't have any kids that go into school, so on and so forth. But you just can't straight out ask them, do you have children? Because it's part of the familial status.
Interesting, I didn't know that.
All right, next.
Can you
Judy?
say, sorry, can you say, tell me more about your family?
You can do that as well. Yes, that's another way of asking without asking straightforward, do they have children?
It's more important to ask the question, Steve just referenced, which is, are schools important to your decision on in this property search, because that'll tell you and they'll reveal if they have elementary school age, middle school, or high schooler. So just ask the bigger question and then that'll result in the answer.
99% of the time, they're gonna tell you, because if it's important, that's gonna be like one of the first things they say, because they're gonna search in a certain city or area for the schools. So most of the time, you don't even have to ask.
Okay, find me somebody.
Jody.
Article 11, next.
The services which realtors provide to their clients and customers shall conform to the standards of practice and competence which are reasonably expected in a specific real estate disciplines in which they engage, specifically residential real estate broker, real property management, commercial and industrial real estate brokerage, land.
Whoops.
I don't know what's going on.
Was that Article 10? No, that was
Article
11. There we go.
Land brokerage, real estate appraisal, real estate counseling, real estate syndication, real estate auction, and international real estate.
Okay. Article 12.
Felisa, you want to take this one?
Realtors shall be honest and truthful in their real estate communications and shall present a true picture in their advertising, marketing, and other representations. Realtors shall ensure that their status as real estate professionals is readily apparent in their advertising, marketing, and other representations, and that the recipients of all real estate communications are or have been notified that those communications are from a real estate professional.
It's where your signature block comes in on your emails. You identify yourself as a real estate agent, and it is a official communication as a real estate agent. All right, next.
Other Christian B, you want to take this one?
With the Padres hat on.
Yeah, sure. Realtors shall not engage in activities that constitute the unauthorized practice of law and shall recommend that legal counsel be obtained when the interest of any party to the transaction requires it.
So what does that mean to people? Somebody tell us what that means.
If someone needs legal counsel, it's not our job to provide it. We need to recommend they get it from somebody else.
Correct. We're not lawyers, we're real estate agents.
And when you talk with your clients, if they ask you a question like that, it's important that you say something like, I'm not an attorney, or I'm not a CPA, so please consult the professional that you work with. And if you want a recommendation to some, you can give them 3 examples of people that you know that do that, but just, make sure that they understand that you're not the legal advisor, you're not the accounting expert either.
Yep, I fought the law and the law won.
Yeah.
All right, 14.
Annabelle.
If charged with unethical practice or asked to present evidence or to cooperate in any other way in any professional standard proceedings or investigations, realtors shall place all pertinent facts before the proper tribunes of the member of boards or affiliate institution, society, or council in which membership is held, and take no action to disrupt or obstruct such processes.
I hope you guys are memorizing these when we get to the last slide. There's questions. All right, duties of realtors, next.
Natalia, do you want to take this one?
Yes, realtors shall not knowingly or recklessly make false or misleading statements about other real estate professionals, their business, or their business practices.
So yeah, we're gonna get this one, and then I have an example of this one you guys are gonna love. Okay. Article 16, next. Camilla. You there?
Maybe, Camilla, are you there?
Realtors shall not engage in any practice or take any action inconsistent with exclusive representation or exclusive brokerage relationship agreements that other realtors have with clients.
Yeah, I ran into this. This is why we're doing this review, is because I ran into several agents the last couple of months that have tried to steal clients. And they've done it in a very, very sneaky way using the buyer broker agreement with the buyer. So we'll get to that in a minute too.
Dirty.
Dirty pool. All right. In an effort to make violations, can you move this thing so I can see it?
Yes,
In an effort to
sir.
make ethics violations of disciplinary process more transparent, CAR is publishing the names of members who are found in violation of the code of ethics, as well as summaries of the members' unethical behavior. Publication is triggered only if the discipline imposed is a reprimand, fine, suspension, or expulsion. Anything other than a letter of warning or standalone education. The information will be published on this members only section of CAR.org, and local associations will also be free to republish the information. One of the examples I'm about to show you, I found off of CAR.org. If you are on this Zoom right now and you are not a member of a board, I'm going to ask you to please step out, because I'm not allowed to tell you this information unless you belong to CAR. All right, here we go.
Maybe.
There
we go.
Following a summary of disciplinary action taken by the local association of realtors. I had a blast last night. We need to do some of these things. These are all current ones that happened between December of 2022 and February of 2023. They really are existing. And I thought I got to laugh last night reading some of these. All right, summaries and other information on the following page are for information of CAR members only. Maybe I see my disclosure. All right, let me switch here. So I'm gonna read you what happened, and then I'm gonna show you what happened to the people that did it. The listing agent for residential property contacted a home staging company to stage the property for showings. An oral agreement was made with the company that the seller could pay for the cost of staging at the close of escrow. The home staging company performed the staging services without executing a written contract with the seller or receiving payment from the seller. Ultimately, the property never sold. The seller never signed a written contract, and the seller never paid for the staging services. The seller felt that the property never sold because of the cheap staging furniture that they used. The agent testified that a few days after the staging was set up, he knew the seller was not happy with the staging. However, he never communicated this to his client, and therefore they went to the grievance board, and this is what happened. Violations of Article 1 and 14 of the Code of Ethics. As a result of these violations, a letter of reprimand was placed in their file for 3 years. That is a black mark, and they were required to retake the online ethics class and the NARS online code of ethics. The next one, the agent used a third-party service provider to create and mail out postcards advertising their services in a residential community. The only problem is he didn't sell the listing. He didn't bring in the buyer. He had nothing to do with the property, but we had marketed it as if he did sell the property. This is what happened to him. Violation of Article 12 of the Code of Ethics. As a result of violation, a letter warning was placed in the file for 3 years, and he's fined $1,200. And of course, everyone has to be, if you get a violation, you have to take the CAR online and NAR online. I'm not going to say those anymore. All right, number 3. Agent entered into a listing into the MLS and indicated that they were the listing agent and he represented the buyer for the sale of the property. In fact, the agent did not have a listing contract for the property and did not participate as an agent on either side. At the hearing, the agent admitted that he entered the listing into the MLS solely for the purpose of manipulating statistics on Zillow. The panel found that the agent violated Article 12 of the Code of Ethics for failing to present the true picture in his real estate communications, and this is what he got: $2,000 fine, letter of reprimand. Next one. Okay, this is important because right now I've got 7 clients looking at manufactured homes. I'm getting questions every day about manufactured homes. This one here, the agent represented the seller in the sale of a manufactured home. The panel determined that the agent did not have the appropriate knowledge for the type of property they were listing and made several errors in the course of the transaction, such as failing to include the appropriate manufactured home addendum in the purchase agreement and using an incorrect 433A certification. The agent also failed to inform the seller that would be a delay in putting up the for sale sign because the people that installed the signs were down with COVID. This happened back in COVID time. Additionally, the agent put the wrong year in the house's construction in the MLS and also input the incorrect address. The panel found the agent violated Article 11 for failing to provide competent service in the sale of manufactured home, and Articles 2 and 12 for misrepresenting information about the MLS. This is important. Here's what happened to him. Violation of the articles, placed in his file for 3 years. For the new agents, new licensees, it's very, very important that you get somebody to look over your contracts before you send them out, before you go into the MLS and put your listing in. Have somebody shadow you and look at what you're putting in there, because this is what can happen if someone determines to go to the board and file a complaint against you.
And just to kind of piggyback off of that, that's why it's really important to go slow when you're filling out things like list a home form, because Lauren can only work with the information provided to her. And so that's just double, even triple check the things that you're submitting, because it clearly matters.
It's always helpful to have another set of eyes review what you think was right, because no matter how good you are or how thorough you think you are, chances are pretty high that somebody's gonna find the box that didn't get checked, or the section that didn't have the explanation in it. So it's just, you know, for protection.
All right, the next one. The agent represented to the sellers and the buyers for a sale of a residential property. The buyers presented evidence during the hearing that the agent violated an agreement to pay a promised amount to them after close of escrow. The agent was not present at the signing date prior to recording and closing. After close of escrow, the buyers' calls, texts, and emails went unanswered. So in other words, the agent ghosted them. The buyers even went to the address the agent had on his business card to find out that there was no business there. Okay, so in this case, the agent had promised the buyers a rebate, but did not follow through. Therefore, watch this. Boom, violation of Article 1 of the Code of Ethics. He got a $10,000 fine. I don't know if you guys have $10,000 laying around that you want to spend, but hey, whatever. So he got a good licking on that one. And then this one here. So the agent called the local association of realtors for assistance with some technical issues that she was having. When the agent did not receive the service they were expecting, they began using racial slurs and made threats of gun violence. Due to several voicemails with recorded threats of gun violence, the local association canceled all the meetings they were having that day and closed down several office locations because of the fear of violence. Realtors must not use harassing speech, hate speech, epithets, or slurs based on race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, national origin, sexual orientation, or gender identity. So, boom. Violation of Article 10, they were expelled from the association until 2024. So they lost their license for 3 years. This happened in 2021. So they lost their licenses for 3 years. So I guess at that point, they have to take ethics training again.
As if they didn't learn their lesson.
Okay, all right, guys. Hey, we're almost done. So I know it will be an hour, but I got things to do. I have to write an offer, and this is too boring and dry anyway. So what questions do you guys have?
I have a question for you, Steve, because I've overheard your conversations and stories of working with, you've had some interesting unethical situations on the other side. Have you ever had to report somebody? And if so, how do you go about doing that?
Yes, I have reported somebody, but since we have Wendy here, Wendy's going to now tell you guys the process and what happens if you guys have a complaint filed against you, or if you file a complaint against somebody else.
Sure, there is a committee called the Grievance Committee. I'm with the San Diego Association of Realtors, and there is a form you can fill out if there is a complaint. The complaint goes to a woman who reviews it, contacts the respondent, and says, "Here's a charge or charges being addressed against you. How do you want to handle this?" Because sometimes broker to broker, they can work out some of the simpler issues, but if the respondent says, "Oh, I never did that," and that's a complete fabrication, they have the opportunity to respond. However, when that complaint comes, it usually is very detailed with supporting evidence. Things like multiple copies of text. I mean, the things that we review in these meetings is pretty darn extensive, like 10 pages of text reply, response, reply, response. There are people that spend a lot of time on the phone and they document their conversations in email, which is strongly suggested so that you have a written documentation of what your view and what your perspective was. The complaint then comes to the grievance committee that I sit on, and there are about 20 other people on that committee representing a real cross-section of brokerages in the county. Those people review the case, and it's usually assigned to 2 or 3 people who dive down deep and then come back to the committee with a recommendation. But there's a lot of discussion that goes on. And sometimes the articles that the complainant are raising are not applicable. We just had one, and for ethic reasons, I can't discuss the details, but this person was an attorney and just basically threw every article into the mix and just said, for examples, he just said, see above, see above, see above, but it was the same thing that was for the original article. So the review committee, we argue, we discuss, we challenge, and ultimately take a vote. And if there is a majority, of even one that says this should go on to the next stage. Now, the grievance committee is not the punitive group. I kind of think of us as the grand jury. We take all the evidence in and make a decision of whether or not this should go to a hearing. If it does go to a hearing, it goes to another group called the Pro Standards Group, and they are the ones that have the hearing with the complainant and the respondent, and then they make the judgment as to whether or not there should be some corrective action taken. So it's very extensive, but believe me, you do not want to have that black mark on your on the ML or the California California Association of Realtors website, because it just makes a big question mark about your ethics and your ability to conduct yourself properly in this industry.
Can you bring up the people on the screen, please, Ashley?
Yes.
So I can see all of them.
Yes, I can.
All right, has anybody ran in, has anybody had to file a grievance against another agent or anything? Let's hear some stories.
Anybody?
Anybody?
I have once. I was in I was in a transaction on a property for a client. It was a big property, 2 acres. The house was built in the 70s. It was made by woodworkers. So the whole house was made of wood. So it was just a long process of getting the termite clearance and all this stuff. And I got a phone call towards the end of the transaction from my client saying that the listing agent called her and told her that I wasn't doing my job, that I didn't deserve a paycheck, that my paycheck should go to this listing agent. And my client was like dumbfounded and like didn't understand where any of this was coming from. Obviously, I'd been working with her the whole time, but I'm not sure if this agent just had like a bad week or something or what. But yeah, she told my client that I didn't deserve to get paid and that my paycheck should go to the listing agent, and that I wasn't representing her well and I wasn't doing a good job. And my client completely disagreed and was very kind of upset with the whole situation. And I reported her to, CAR. I never heard anything back really, but I just definitely think that was unethical of her to do. So.
Anybody else? This whole ethics review started about 2.5 months ago, actually, because I got super mad. I had a client, we went out and looked at 6.24 acres, spent 3 hours pumping around this place. Went back a second day, the listing agent came with us, fantastic agent. I would have loved to have worked with her. And then my buyer was looking around for a different lender. And then about 3 days later, the listing agent called me and she's like, Steve, is this your client's name? And she said it. And I was like, well, yeah, that's my client. She goes, well, I just got an offer on that land that we've been looking at from another agent. And I'm like, I was really confused. I said, well, he didn't fire me. I haven't done anything wrong that I know of. So I called my client and I said, hey, so-and-so, I just got a call from the listing agent saying that you submitted an offer with another agent. And he goes, oh yeah. He goes, I had to. And I was like, what do you mean you had to? He goes, yeah, I called this lender and they were going to give me a loan, but they said I could only get the loan if they wrote the offer on the property. So it was a husband-wife team. The husband was a lender. The wife was a real estate agent. So, no, sorry, the other way around. The wife was the lender. The husband was the real estate agent. So he also got my client to sign a buyer broker agreement, which he locks him into that particular agent. So when I found all this out, I actually first I got online. This guy had some very, very bad disciplinary actions against him. He had lost his license for 3 months, been suspended multiple times, and had a lot of disciplinary actions taken against him. So I called him up and I got it worked out by threatening to go to CAR because what he did was very, very unethical. But we got it worked out. But yeah, I had to threaten to go to CAR and report him again. So what I've been doing, and I've been doing it for years, is every time I go into a transaction, especially if I have a listing, I get offers. The first thing I do is I go verify that their license is active. Then I go and look and see if they have any disciplinary action against them. Not because I want to prejudge them, but because I want to get my mindset of how this transaction will probably go and how much of my hands on do I need to watch all the paperwork. So they are out there. They will run into them. We're doing this not because anybody in this office has got a violation, which nobody in this office does, because I looked. Just so we keep ourselves straight. This is more for the new licensees. Again, get somebody to look your stuff over before you send it out. Don't try to answer questions of your clients if you don't know. Just say, let me research that and I'll get back to you. Don't guess, don't give advice, and don't be a lawyer. And we're not working.
There we go.
All right, reminder, this has been a review only and not training. One more time. All right, guys, that's all I have. Anybody have any questions or any input? All right, thanks for joining. See you all later. Have a great day. Stay dry.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank
Hi,
you, Steve.
everyone.
You rock.
Have a good one, guys.